I've been streaming on Twitch for 10 years. And I still average 10 to 15 viewers. This isn't a how to grow on Twitch video. This isn't a tips and tricks video. This is just me and my story in that platform. Through university, moving countries, heartbreaks, highs and lows. This is just my honest story. This is my journey. A decade of me showing to do something that I love, even when the numbers don't change. But here's the thing, streaming saved me and changed my life in ways that I had never expected it would. And if you ever stuck with something that you love, even when it does not make sense, this one is for you. Now, just a little disclaimer on why I'm making this video. For the past year, I've had some amazing members joining my community. And in August, we celebrated me streaming for 10 years. And a lot of people that recently joined don't know all the story. So I decided to try to put everything in a timeline. Now, I started streaming when I was 22 years old. I've been watching Twitch for a while and I thought it was fun and I decided I wanted to try. Back then, I was in university, only had a laptop and a headset to stream from, and it was super chaotic, but I made it work. In 2015, for some reason, I was really into League of Legends. So that's the game I would stream. I don't know if I was just a more patient person back then because I cannot stand the game now. Around that time, I was on my second but third year of university, so that was a bit confusing. Let me try to explain. My bachelor degree was 3 years, but during my second year, I had some personal issues. So I repeated the second year, which meant by the time I was on my third year of the bachelor, it was my fourth year in university. And this is why my dad said he would not pay any more tuition. Now, he could have said that before I registered for my third year so that I could decide by myself if I wanted to work and study, but he waited until I enrolled, and once we were enrolled, you have to pay for the full year. And maybe if he didn't say anything, or if it had been different, I might have ended my third year and got my degree. But at the moment that he said he was not going to pay any more tuition, I just quit. I dropped out. Not really knowing what to do, there were applications for this company called Ryanair, which is a budget airline here in Europe. I applied, I got in, I did their course, and I moved to Ireland, which was great. I fell in love with that country, by the way. Really hard to understand Irish people at the beginning. Now, I did want to keep my PC. I was not okay with leaving it behind, so I managed to bring everything that was inside my case and one monitor in suitcases, and nothing broke. I just had to get a new case when I got to Ireland and I had my streaming set up. So between mid 2016 and mid 2017, for that 1 year, I did live in Ireland, and my stream schedule was not the most consistent. And I only usually played one of two games. I either played League of Legends alone or with my friends, or I played Path of Exile, which was a game that I was very much into. It was never the best for me to stream, especially on a low budget PC. If you play Path of Exile, you know. Now, the way that my schedules worked back then is that I had 5 days of work, 3 days off. And because work was actually a little bit more on the intense side, sometimes I had really long hours, I would end up only streaming on my days off. After this 1 year, I did have a plan to get a better computer with my last paycheck and stream more often. I actually sold all of my stream setup there in Ireland before coming home. When I came home, I bought the best PC I've ever had that I don't have anymore. I think my current PC is not as good as that one. I made the gaming PC of the time. I was having such a good time live streaming for like 2 months. I was streaming very consistently. I was having a lot of fun. The chat was always going. It was like a really good time for me. What wasn't so good was my relationship with my dad. Now, at the time, I was living alone with my dad. He didn't believe in live streaming. He didn't believe in content creation. To be fair, he still doesn't really believe in it. So he would constantly remove my internet. He would take the Ethernet cable just so I couldn't stream, just so I would go and find a normal job. Now, in order to comply with this, with the experience that I had on an airline, I actually applied to the two big airline companies, Qatar and Emirates, and I got accepted for interviews for both of them. The problem is, I am from Porto and these interviews were in Lisbon. I tried talking with my dad saying that I needed the money for the train so I could go to these interviews. And this man that says that I needed a real job refused because I spent all my money on a computer, because that makes sense. So I ended up not going for those and applied to a cashier shop at the supermarket, which I actually got. For the first 3 months, things kept getting worse and worse. And I am someone that wants to put mental health first. For my mental health, I moved into my mom's apartment, which is actually this one. I moved to my mom's tiny apartment. Back then, my sister lived here. So it was my mom, my sister, and now me, which meant I had to sleep on the couch. I felt better in this really tiny, crowded apartment, sleeping on the couch, barely have space of my own or privacy, than being back at my dad's where I had my own room. But at least I could stream and I could have fun. And I even did events at Christmas, at Halloween, which was like the first year that I did these events and had a really good time. So now we were at the end of 2017. I was working as a cashier at the supermarket, not really sure what I was going to do next. I decided maybe I should try and go to Korea. Korea was like, for years, my dream destination. I felt like if I don't do it now, I'm not sure I'm ever going to be able to do it. So I stopped spending money. Since I was living with my mom, I didn't have to worry about rent. And I saved every penny of my cashier job to be able to go to Korea. And in February 2018, I did. Now, I was going to Korea for 3 months and I did not want to stop streaming. I had to sell my most amazing gaming PC and switch it over to a laptop so that I could take it with me, because I couldn't just afford having a desktop and a laptop. I don't know if you ever tried streaming from a laptop. This actually meant there were a lot of games that I couldn't stream. Around this time, I found this really fun rhythm game called Osu. Now, Osu is really fun. My sister is in art school, which meant she had a drawing tablet. If you've ever seen Osu players, instead of a mouse, they use the tablet. So I got really into it. It was around this time that I got my biggest raid ever from an Osu streamer. I was absolutely amazed by this. Other than playing Osu, I realized I couldn't just play this game for hours and hours on end because I would get really tired. I decided to start doing cross stitches on stream. Now, if you guys don't know, you can see here, I have been cross stitching as a hobby to relax my mind for years and years. I never really did it for content. I tried doing it on stream. Back then, somehow through some community friends, I saw that people did art and I was like, this is a type of art. And then somehow I found people that actually also did cross stitching live on Twitch and I was like, this is amazing. I will do this too. So for a couple of months, I did Osu for gaming and then I did cross stitching, and I found out that people really enjoyed this because it was like very zen, just watching me cross stitch, just, you know, just existing. We were just existing together. So February 2018, went to Korea, stayed there 3 months, actually did my first ever IRL stream in Korea. I think back then it was not even a thing. And I'm so sad that I don't have the VOD anymore. That was like such a fun thing. It only lasted a couple of hours. The whole time that I was in Korea was just amazing. Not only I was in this country that I loved with amazing food, but I recently had joined a community of streamers and it was such an amazing group group. Some of them I still talk to this day. I think that was my peak in terms of Twitch. That was the most fun I've had with streaming. That was the most friends that I had at the time, because we had like community hangouts and on Discord. It was just like hanging with friends. And as someone that never really fit in at school, at university, I never really had like a group like this where we would just hang out, just talk stuff, you know? Now, when I came back, I had hopes that things would change, and I don't know, was it a mistake? I really don't like looking back at what I did and having regrets. It's not really my style. I'm also not the type of person that says that everything happens for a reason. But looking back, maybe I should not have done that. Instead of coming back and moving with my mom again, I went back with my dad. At the start, it was okay-ish, but there's something about my dad that he always makes me feel like a parasite in his house, because all he wanted to know is, what are you gonna do? What's your future like? He always, since a very young age, puts all of this pressure on me, and I don't have the answers. I'm 32, I still don't know. I'm just trying to live. During my months in Korea and the couple of months after Korea, I was actually making as much as a part-time just by streaming. A part of me thinks that if I had continued streaming regularly, maybe things would have been different. By late summer of 2018, I was averaging over 20 viewers. That was like my peak, my all-time peak. But anyway, in going out with some friends back home, because everyone wanted to learn what I did in Korea and whatnot, and talking with friends, I actually learned about the programming course, and you know that I was always very good with tech and computers. Maybe this could be it. After the summer was over, I enrolled in a programming course. The course lasted 1 year, and then I had internship. So for all of that time, I lived with my dad. I did cross-stitching streams still. Not as regular, but I tried doing my best. By October and November, I was barely streaming. Then from December to February, I did not stream at all. And then I was slowly trying to come back. But my schedule was completely all over the place. Now, back then, I was dating someone, and since we both had a pretty bad home situation, we decided to move in together. And it was like right at the time the pandemic hit as well. So back then, we thought this was like the perfect timing, because we didn't have to be stuck at home with our parents. I lived there and worked from home for the majority of time for about 2 years. Now, this was not the best time of my life, to be fair. At the beginning, it was all very great and amazing, but it just got worse and worse and worse and worse. I did very sporadic streams. Like, I really tried to continue streaming, but my schedules were all over the place. My games were all over the place. Eventually, I got a PC and I did go back to streaming games. In April of 2021, I also got a puppy, which on one side, everyone on stream loves my dog. You know, even after the breakup, it's my dog. I never wanted a dog. It was not my idea, but now he's mine. And everyone on stream loves him. He's the cutest. He's like the love of my life right now. But that was like added constraints for me to stream. But I did my best, and I did weekend streams. Back then, I was working full time, and streaming after work was just not really what I could do, because I do not have full energy all day long. I don't know. I hate streaming when I'm low energy. Not for me, but for who's watching. Because me as a viewer, when I go watch a streamer that is like very low energy, it's not like I don't want to watch them because they're low energy, but you know, I kind of feel bad for them. And I'm like, why don't you go rest? And I feel like my viewers would do the same to me. Now, like I told you guys, my relationship was not the best and my mental health was at a decline. And just like I did with my dad, I was like, this is not it. When I feel like my mental health is suffering and I know that it's because of someone, I gotta go. But I couldn't go back with my dad. At that time, I was like really enjoying being more independent, like living out of my parents. So I didn't want to go back to my mom's. And at that time, my sister also did not want to live with my parents. So we decided to move in together, which was great for a time. Now, we moved in, I think, early 2023. Honestly, it was good. It was good, but I wasn't streaming. For most of 2023, I did not stream. I still played video games. I still made some YouTube videos. I just didn't stream. And I feel like that whole year was mental healing year. I just wanted to find things that I enjoyed again. I just wanted to feel like myself again. You know, there was so much that I felt like I needed to hit like some kind of reset point. And that whole year was about that. During my healing years, my viewership completely dropped, probably because I was streaming very sporadically, very random games. And honestly, I was just trying to remember why I liked Twitch in the first place. But I was still healing. And then a lot of unexpected things happened, really. After me and my sister had a good year, my sister started having some issues. We are not the most mentally stable family. She ended up losing her job and moved out because she couldn't pay rent. I did not want to leave the apartment, so I tried finding someone else to go live with me instead of moving out with her. Didn't work. Not only didn't work, I got laid off by the end of 2023. 2024 was a new year. I was looking for a job. I was looking for a roommate. Nothing seemed to be working. I felt like I hit rock bottom when I had to give up the apartment, move back in with my mom. No plan, no money, and increasing debt. What was I gonna do? And I turned to Twitch again. I started being very consistent with Twitch while doing other stuff, obviously. I was still looking for a job. I was trying to improve myself by taking online courses. I was trying, you know. For the rest of 2024, I tried so many things for so long. And honestly, nothing really seemed to be working. One thing that I was able to do was be consistent on Twitch. And I had amazing support from the Twitch community. I feel like I would have starved. Maybe not, because my mom wouldn't allow it. But I had the most amazing support during that year and during this year through the community. I was like completely awed with it. What did I achieve in 2024? At least I was consistent. I streamed every single week, at least twice per week. I had the weeks that I streamed almost every day. It was absolutely insane. 2024 was the year I hit rock bottom, but it was also the year I made my Twitch real comeback. And that brings us to this year, 2025. I still am consistent with Twitch. Not only that, in May, I held my first ever subathon because I wanted to go to my first TwitchCon and the community made it happen. I had a successful first ever subathon. That's crazy.
I guess we meet in Rotterdam.
I guess we are. Twitch had sent me to TwitchCon Europe where I live streamed IRL for the entire trip. And it was absolutely amazing. This year has been incredible. By the end of 2024, I had a goal of reaching 10 average viewers, and I did it. And for the whole of 2025, I have been very, very steadily growing, and it has been great. 10 years of ups and downs. I keep coming back to it because of this. If you have to take a lesson out of this, is how amazing the Twitch community is, the amazing things that they can make happen. And this is why I keep coming back to it. This is how Twitch somehow always saves me and changes my life. When I'm feeling really down and I don't feel like streaming, sometimes streaming is the one thing that cheers me up. Looking back now, I realize the one constant that I had in these 10 years of moving around changing hair colors, multiple relationships, multiple countries. The one constant has been Twitch. So I want to thank you guys, whether you have been following me for 10, 8, 5, or you just followed me yesterday. Thank you for joining the journey. Thank you for being there for me. And thank you for helping me get through everything. Now, if you are still watching after 10 years of Patty history, I think I earn a click on that subscribe button if you are not subscribed already. Even though I tried my best scripting this video, I'm pretty sure I missed some details. So I am adding a blog post. I will leave you guys the link on the description. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to stay in the Pattyverse, I'm doing a challenge here on YouTube, so I talk about more over here. So click here. I'll see you guys. My camera died.